Hey, crafters, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Look who we have with us today. How awesome to have Mr. Russ join us this morning.
Good morning, everybody.
So, hopefully, everyone has had an amazing Christmas Eve. They're starting off their Christmas morning. I'm sure we're all at varied stages of Christmas morning. I am still working on my coffee this morning in my Grinch cup, though. So.
Oh, nice.
So Russ has already been out and adventured around this morning.
Yeah, I was already grinchy this morning. I don't care if it's Christmas or not. If you mess up my food, we got a problem. I went to QT this morning to grab some breakfast, and yeah, they made my biscuit and gravy wrong. They've made it wrong a couple times. Some of the new people just don't quite know what they're doing. So I know to look, and for some reason, there's one person who likes to put the gravy on the bottom and the biscuit on top, and when you put it in the toaster, it makes the biscuit rock hard, which makes it, inedible.
It's funny you say that because I just bought sausage yesterday. So after the live this morning, I'm making homemade sausage and biscuits.
Oh, nice.
And I found actually it was some on YouTube the other day. Someone had a sausage gravy recipe where you make the sausage gravy, you cut up the biscuits and put the gravy on top, but then you pour in like 6 eggs on top of that and diced ham and something else. It was a really
That
cool
sounds complicated.
recipe. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought I can make my gravy pretty quick. So that's what we're doing today. So today for me is the YouTube Live. After the YouTube Live, I've got to start my dinner. We're opening gifts with a friend, and then having dinner at 2 o'clock. And then at 5 o'clock this afternoon, I'm having several folks over that are widowed or just singles that are single probably by choice. But I don't think anyone should be alone on Christmas. So they're all bringing a dessert, just what I need. Yeah, we're all having dessert at 5 o'clock today.
74 desserts. That's
So if they don't get my sugar in check, nothing will. So you have other plans today, Mr. Russ?
My sister and I, we are opening gifts on Zoom sometime after this. And then I've got to find and start gathering everything together for Stephanie's retreat because there's only 3 more sleeps till the retreat.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, I'm like, I can't believe Christmas Eve was yesterday. I can't believe today's Christmas. And then I'm like, oh my God, I got to go back to work tomorrow.
I was going to say tomorrow's Boxing Day, so.
I wish it was Boxing Day here.
Well, it's Boxing Day everywhere. It's just whether or not we celebrate it.
Oh, that's so true. See, look at you. See, you bring such wisdom to us. All right, let's see who's in the chat. We got quite a few already this morning.
Yeah, I was going to say, I see a full screen.
Crazy. Mom and Pop Quilt Shop. Merry Christmas, guys, from snowy Nova Scotia.
You can keep the snow.
Patty B is here. Merry Christmas. She has her hot chocolate ready, and she's waiting for cinnamon buns to come out of the oven. There's a lady that knows how to start the morning. Carl Sass is here. Merry Christmas. See you at Stitch in Heaven next week. I am excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, you got your retreat coming up too.
I do. And I had planned, because I never did my Kona block of the month, and I do have like 4 or 5 of those cut out. So the plan was to finish cutting all of those and then maybe work on those while I was at the retreat.
They're starting another Kona block of the month.
I know, but I figured since I hadn't done 24, I shouldn't do 25.
I'm doing 25, so.
See, and then we can compare notes in 26, what 24 and 25 look like. Hey, Jackie, Merry Christmas. Jean is here. Good morning, all. Merry Christmas. Balloonist is here from Tucson. Happy holidays. Karen B. And Katie Crafts is here this morning. Good morning. So I am working on Layer Cake Shuffle. I did finally get everything cut. It was nice because it was quick and easy to cut out. So
I love quick and easy cutouts.
too. I was just like the other day, I was like, wait a minute, I still got gifts to wrap. I still got this to do. Oh, wait a minute, I better go cut something for my live or I won't have anything to do. What are you working on, Russ?
I am working on things that I can't show.
That's okay, though. You have your own special project.
I mean, people who are watching closely may see glimpses here and there and might get an idea, but yeah, I'm not showing. It's a super special project, or a super secret project.
Nice. That's exciting. This is the first time I've been at the sewing machine, I think it feels like in December. How crazy is that?
Well, why are you depriving yourself?
Tell you what, I can't like last night. So we decided for Christmas Eve, it would be fun to start a new tradition where we went to the movies. So we went and saw the new Bob Dylan movie.
There's a Bob Dylan movie.
Yes, and I didn't realize I apparently don't. I'm not really crazy about folk music, and I knew nothing about him. So it wasn't a bad movie, but it just wasn't one of those where I'd have to rush again to see it. Probably would have helped if I knew more of his music in that. I was like, oh, I think I knew 2 songs out of all the songs they played. So
I
did that.
don't know when movies are coming out anymore, so
I don't think you're missing anything. I tell you what,
yeah, I probably am not. I mean, Wicked, I kept big tabs over because I've been excited for that since it was announced. Okay, since before it was announced. But like a few months ago when Beetlejuice came out, I did not know that it was coming out.
No
If it
way.
wasn't for propaganda at work, I would have not known that it existed.
That's crazy. So do you mostly watch, if you're watching TV and that, other than YouTube, do you do Netflix or something like that?
I don't have a Netflix account.
Ooh.
David says he has me set up on his Netflix, but I don't want his Netflix to get in trouble by sharing passwords.
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch I watch YouTube and I watch Pluto TV, which doesn't share any advertisements for movies. And I have an antenna, which I don't really pay much attention when I'm watching antenna. And then I have a large collection of movies that I have of my own. So that's what I usually watch is it's either YouTube or my own collection. So things like, Star Trek has had a few new series recently. We've had Discovery, we've had Strange New Worlds, we've had Lower Decks and Prodigy. So I just wait until they come out on Blu-ray, purchase a Blu-ray and binge them that way instead of paying for a service that I don't want to get trapped into.
Yeah, and I feel I totally get that because I have, what do I have? I have Netflix, HBO, Apple, and I have Paramount Plus because I'm a Walmart member.
So you're
But
paying as much for your streaming services as you would for cable.
yes, well, and then I have Sling, so I have all my cable channels.
Yeah, I do have Max, but I keep forgetting that I have Max, and I don't pay for Max because it's an employee perk.
Oh, nice.
So I don't mind forgetting that I have Max.
It's
But having Max was nice a couple years ago when the Friends reunion special came on, and I was up in Massachusetts, so I was able to log in at my sister's and say, "Okay, we can watch the Friends reunion special together."
Yeah, I was never a big Friends fan.
I've seen like 3 episodes, but I want to watch the series. So it's again one of those that I have on Blu-ray. I just got to prioritize it at some point.
Well, and that's my problem. Like now, this time of year, I watch a lot of Hallmark Channel. I like my Hallmark.
Really? I would have never guessed that about you.
But again, they don't advertise like a lot of the upcoming movies in that.
Because they're all the same. Everybody's like, didn't we just see this? So why are they going to advertise?
No, they advertise their own movies. I'm just saying they don't
Oh,
advertise.
you're saying that they don't advertise like the new Bob Dylan movie.
Right. So it was interesting sitting in the theater last night. I did get to see some new, coming out movies, but it was like,
I don't even think I can remember any of the coming attractions that was played in front of Wicked. Well, it was 20 minutes of coming attractions, and I could not tell you one of them.
And that's what's funny. Now, I will have to say, our local chain here is Harkins. And I do like my Harkins. It's always, the bathrooms are clean. The concessions are kept very clean. You can tell it's an old family run. And they have probably 20 theaters in California here, and so it's not like a small chain.
Yeah, I've been to them. I saw the Chipmunk movie there a few years back.
Yeah, so I mean, they take care of their theaters and that. But the nice thing is they do exactly 10 minutes still of previews. Because the last time I went to a national one, we were a good 20, 25 minutes in, and I was like, okay, at some point you all have got to just stop and show the movie.
Well, when it's Wicked, which was 2 hours and 40 minutes,
right,
plus the trailers, and there was 20 minutes of trailers, that's a full 3 hours of your life you lose.
Yeah. That's why we haven't gone.
Okay, we only lost 20 minutes of our life because the other 2 hours and 40 minutes was worth it.
That's why I'm waiting for it to come to video.
It has a UK release date for streaming, so.
Oh, does it really?
Well, not streaming, digital purchase. What is it? Next Friday? Yeah. So I'm imagining it's going to be available in the US soon.
And it's Disney, right?
Universal.
Oh, okay. Which means I probably have to buy another streaming. But sometimes it's cheaper just to buy the movie or whatever than it is to go pay the ticket prices.
Yeah, I did not realize how insane ticket prices were until, because it was, I think it was $16 for the tickets to Wicked. And I thought that was bad until I realized that was 25% off. It's like $23 to buy tickets.
No way.
At full price.
Oh, then I'm not going to say anything because my tickets were only like $10.
And then you had to have popcorn and soda. Like popcorn and soda was $19.
Yeah, so Harkins has, you buy their loyalty cup for like $8.
Yep.
And then you get it refilled every time you go for $2 or $2.50. And then you have, they have popcorn perks. So they usually run popcorn perks on special Black Friday, and it's like $30, but you get 36 medium popcorns for the next year. So every time you go to the movie, you get a free popcorn. Now, granted, you paid $36, but still, that's a good deal. The problem is, I just don't go to the movies that much. I end up buying the stupid deal every year, and it's like, but you're not. The guy last night, he goes, you still have 34 popcorn perks. I'm like, yeah, I know, but they expire today.
It's like buying the Six Flags season pass and you only go twice.
Yes. But I feel like I'm saving money, even though I'm probably not. It's okay. Zaza said she just popped in to say Merry Christmas before everyone, the rest of her family arrives. Merry Christmas, Zaza. Mom and Pop Quilt shops here. Morning, all you cool kids. I still like being called a kid. Alexandria's here. Merry Christmas. She said, I'll be right back. I need more coffee. See, there's a lot of us that are dependent upon our coffee, Russ.
So last night I finished the binding on the Tibet quilt.
Did you really? How'd it turn out?
It's gorgeous. I'm giving it away to the little girl next door today.
Oh, that's fun.
I still have to get it wrapped. But I figure I'm going to text them probably after we open up our gifts, give them time to get settled in and everything, and say, "Hey, are y'all home? And does your daughter want to have another gift?" And bring it over to them and let them open it. And then at that same time, I can say, "Okay, now that you got this gorgeous quilt, will you take care of Percy for a couple days while I'm at retreat?"
Everything comes with a price, doesn't it?
I mean, it's an easy way to sneak things in.
So
they would do it no matter what. But
the picture you sent me Monday, is that the Tibet quilt? With the cats and the rainbow and all those colors?
let me see the picture I sent you Monday. Yes.
You had just quilted it.
Yeah, it was quilted. It just hadn't been trimmed off the long arm.
No, I bet that turned out really nice. It's such bright colors in that. It's just a fun quilt.
I couldn't find the original fabric for the binding, so I just used the outer border as the binding. Because I found that I knew where that fabric was.
It's amazing what we can come up with, isn't it? And then your t-shirt quilt went over really well.
Oh yeah, he was thanking me and thanking me and thanking me, and I was like, "You don't have to say thank you that many times. I mean, it was a pleasure to make it." And he decided to start saying, instead of "Thank you, Russ," he started saying, "Screw you, Russ."
Message received, right?
So that video is coming out sometime in the next week. I haven't quite figured out exactly when it's going to get published, but I've got it edited and put together. I just got to figure out what our schedule is going to be at retreat. So it may get put out on Saturday. It may get put out on Sunday. It may get put out on Tuesday. I don't know. But once we're at the retreat, we can figure out, because, we all want to do a quick live, all of probably half an hour each of us. It was a blast last year when we all did it.
I was going to say, I thought all of you, didn't you do because you all did like a Q&A, didn't you?
We did. We had, because we had four content creators, we had 4 different lives. One live was what our plans were at the retreat. One live was our haul that we got at the quilt shop. One live was like Q&A, and one live was our impressions of the retreat and everything. So we had 4 really awesome lives.
And that's what, because we don't get.
And the hard part though is check-in is at 9 a.m. on Saturday, and I normally do live at 11 a.m. on Saturday. So I don't know, like, are we going to go live like immediately after check-in, or are we going to do some shifting and stuff around? So I've got contingency plans of videos to go up if we're not live at 11.
See, you did better planning than I did. I haven't been live for a couple of weeks now between the birthday celebration, Kansas
I
City.
haven't been live for a couple weeks. My Saturdays have been recap videos.
Oh, have they really? I've
Yep.
never done a recap.
It was, well, that's because you didn't open up your gifts every day.
True.
So my Saturdays for the past couple weeks were just a recap of the gifts that we got in the Missouri Star box, and like my favorite and least favorite from the week.
So, what did you think overall of Jenny's box this year? This is your third year?
This is my first year.
Oh, you're kidding.
It had some fun stuff. It had some stuff that I'm absolutely never going to do.
Yep.
And it has some stuff that I am going to use as evil Christmas presents for next year. And by evil, yeah. We have a member of the family who is not the nicest person, and it eats her up when people do nice things, because she thinks that we want something in return, because that's obviously the only reason why you do nice things.
Aw, isn't that sad?
So I will do nice things for her randomly, and she thinks that I'm up to something. And that something is just being nice to make her think that I'm up to something.
You do have an evil spirit, don't you?
Oh, it's so much fun to live rent-free in someone's head.
I so understand that. Oh, my goodness. All right, I got my first square done.
You got a square done. Oh, nice.
Slow start, but we'll get there. Oh, my goodness. I don't know. It's an exciting day. So much going on. So much. It seems like life has just been busy. Like, of all things, I wanted to make sure I got my blood work done before the end of the year because I've already met my deductibles. And I ended up scheduling blood work for tomorrow morning. And I'm like, yeah, probably the day after Christmas where you're coming off. So
For
my
the
niece,
sugar high.
right. So my niece
Well, the
is
good
like,
thing is they don't usually care about, they stopped caring so much about your immediate blood sugar level, and they want your A1C instead, which is a 3-month average.
yeah. So
Somehow.
I'm hoping that that's the way that works out. My niece, who is really like my sister because we're so close in age and close together. Plus, I don't have much other family. Came out for my birthday. So one day she shows up to the house with a dozen crumble cookies.
Oh, I've never had crumble cookies. I've heard they're really good.
They really are. They're huge. She did not realize how big they were, but she was very surprised when she opened the box and I could name every cookie because she was like, are you kidding me? Like, every cookie in this box. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, I've had crumble before. She goes, no, you got every cookie name and you got them right. So, needless to say, I had a dozen cookies for 4 of us and then turned around and she, on my birthday, went back and bought nothing but cakes. And
Oh, those are, we've had those brought in at work. Those are
right.
good.
They are amazing. I love their icing, but it's like, okay, well, we haven't finished the cookies. And she goes, yeah, I know. And I'm leaving tomorrow. I was like, yes, I understand. So I have a counter full of cookies. And so last night, to go with all that, I made my Christmas peppermint cheesecake that I make every year. And then one of my friends is bringing sour cream raisin pie because that's family tradition for them. So
That sounds interesting.
I'm really anxious. They said it tastes like a tart cheesecake with raisins. So I don't know. I'm anxious to try it.
The only thing that raisins should be in is oatmeal cookies, because both oatmeal and raisins are healthy, so the oatmeal cookies are healthy.
But it's just like, wow, I've got to get back on my diet. I've got to get, it's like um, too much going on, but that's okay. It is that time of year. We enjoy this time of year for a reason.
My boss, okay, now former boss, because she retired Friday, sent us all Cheryl's cookies for Christmas.
Oh, nice.
She's done that for the past 4 years, I think,
Yep.
maybe 3. Um, but yeah, they arrived, and I just immediately put them in the freezer because if I don't put them in the freezer, I'm going to eat them all in like one sitting.
I sent my team the Cheryl Cookies Penguin cookie jar this year. And one of my team members has a 9-year-old. And he said every morning he goes in the kitchen and goes, "Good morning, Merry Christmas, Mr. Penguin." He said he's just as enamored with that penguin. Well, good. I'm glad that, I mean, because you never know what people,
Right.
hard to buy something that you feel like is equal for each of your, and
Yeah.
that they'll like that. Yeah, it is, it's like, because I've got a very diverse team, which is great. That's what I wanted. I was fortunate to get to hire my team. So, but
Yeah, that's one of those that, although when the cookies were delivered, I was like, my boss skimped out this year because normally we get a big box and we got a small box this year. And when I opened it up, I realized they were just in one session instead of, or in one combined box instead of 4 loose boxes.
oh, okay.
So I'm like, okay, that made it happier for shipping and everything else. So I'm still happy. I didn't need all those cookies anyway. If it's less, so. And because I put them in the freezer, that means I have to take them out like an hour in advance if I know that I want a cookie. So I have to plan to have a cookie. It's not, last second. I'm just gonna be a what is that? Off
Cookie
the cuff
Monster.
eater or whatever it is.
It's not an impulse.
Impulse, yes.
Mm-mm-mm. I do like cookies, though. That's my problem. I do enjoy good cookies.
Yeah.
And I did not get, normally, I bake a lot for the holidays, and I just didn't get it done this year. I mean, I don't know. I feel like the holidays just came and went, and it's like, fortunately, I managed because I keep a closet full. So I'll start buying next week for 2025.
Oh, I started buying last week for 2025.
Right? I mean,
I already have my sister's first purchased Christmas present, and that's not including the stuff that I forgot to send her.
so the sad thing is, I kept telling my daughter, I said, "I'm sorry. I know the grandkids are going to be disappointed. Papa John cut back this year. It's just," and of course, my grandkids have so much. It's not like they need anything else. And so I finally start getting everything out of the closet, start packing everything. And I text my daughter and I said, "Do you remember when I told you Papa John cut way back?" And her exact response was, "What did you do now?" And I was like, "Well, Papa John may have forgot some of the things that were in the closet." And as he started unboxing the closet, Christmas not as small as he thought it was going to be. But they were very excited. They were happy with their gifts. My grandson got his Hot Wheels quilt.
Oh,
So
nice.
he was in heaven with that. And they got to open last night because Daddy is a sergeant with the local police department. So
Uh,
he had to work today. So they had Christmas yesterday, and the kids are young enough they didn't know if Christmas was yesterday or today. So
right.
apparently Santa showed up early in Virginia.
Hey, he's got a schedule he got to keep. He's like, if I can relieve a couple seconds here and there, then I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And and it's important. The kids are 5 and 7, so that's the perfect age for all of that activity. So
yeah,
I would love to be there one year, but it's also cold in Virginia this time of year, which I'm very adverse to. So I will be back.
At QT this morning, one of the other customers just looks at me and goes, "Aren't you cold?" And I'm like, "No, it's a comfortable 32 degrees outside."
No way.
And I'm wearing my shorts and flip flops.
Oh my gosh. No, you would have loved seeing me in Kansas. I mean, I had my toboggan, I had my scarf, I had I had the whole 9 yards. You would have thought that it was 10 degrees. I mean, well, it was 9 degrees. I mean, crazy. And people live there year round. It's like, oh my gosh, no.
David used to live in Kansas City for a while.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. In the sometime in the past 4 years, one of his jobs took him there. And yeah, he did not like it.
There's a lot to do. I was surprised. But
That was where he got rear-ended really badly.
I don't blame him. That would be enough to turn me off of it.
Yeah.
Although I drive in Phoenix, and let me tell you, I say a prayer every time I get behind the wheel.
I've seen what happens in Phoenix. So when I visited, David was like, "Well, if you want to go see so and so, you can borrow my car." I was like, "No, no."
It's just it's crazy the way people drive here, the way they act on the road. I mean, I didn't realize how many times a horn can blow. I mean, like, wow, people love to use their horns here. All right, BBMK's here. Merry Christmas. She's down in Phoenix.
BBMK has been loving the emoji Christmas songs that I did in my Vlogmas.
Oh, no kidding. I am so far behind. I don't like the first couple that I saw, and then I did see what you posted yesterday. That's been it. I've got to get caught up. I downloaded a bunch for the plane next week. Patty's here. We already said Merry Christmas, Patty. She says she loves the fabric. Brian's here. Merry Christmas, Brian. Alexandria says she's back. She got her coffee. She's good to go now. Candace says, good morning, John and Russ. Wishing you both a Merry Christmas. Jackie said traffic is crazy in Phoenix.
Yes.
And Balloonist, who's down in Tucson, says, I hate driving through Phoenix. I totally BBMK says she loves emoji song of the day. That might be something cool for your Saturday blog now. So you may have started something.
Oh no. It was too much work getting those. That there is no need for me to go any further with that than Christmas.
Because I mean, we could do like we could do decades, 80s and the 70s. And
nope. Like last year, it was bad enough trying to get all those Christmas jokes.
I was going to say, you did dad jokes last year, didn't you?
The last 2 years. So Yeah, those are hard enough as it is, and then doing the emoji songs, that was an adventure. So I haven't figured out what I'm going to do next year yet.
So here's the real question: are you going to do Jenny's box again?
Uh, so I already have plans for Advent next year.
Oh,
When I go up to Massachusetts in May, I am going to make my sister purchase me a whole bunch of stuff and wrap them up for an Advent box. Because that way it is something that is customized specific for me. And I won't have the other extra filler. Because when you get an Advent box from a company,
yep.
you have to look at it differently than gifts that you are getting from friends and family. If you're getting something from a company, they have to make it to the masses. So not everything is going to be perfect for you. But I'm hoping, if I get a Advent box made by my sister with all quilty stuff, because we have a really awesome quilt shop in Western Massachusetts. We have a couple of them that are out there. I'm hoping that she'll be able to just go in there. And part of me is like, I'm okay if you just buy a kit and you break it up similar to the way that Stephanie's box came, one of her boxes came, where she opened up 24 fabrics. And then on the last day, she opened up the pattern and she was able to see what the fabrics would have made or will make.
Yep.
So I'm like, I'm okay if you even do something like that. But at least this way it is a customized Advent box. And I should hopefully like everything that's in there, well, or at least like most everything in there. And it's still going to be a surprise because she's going to be making the stuff. I'm just going to say, do you want me to just give you a Visa gift card, or do you want me to just pay you back whatever your receipt is?
Does she? But she doesn't quilt and sew.
She crochets.
Okay.
And I have already asked an inside source if they would be an advisor to help her pick out some stuff. So she will have an advisor for picking out whatever's going to go in the Advent.
Well, and so she is into crafting, right? So it's not like it's
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like she's getting it's not like if you are taking, me to a car show and say, buy me something for an Advent stuff. And I'm like, I have no idea what to buy at a car show. So yeah, she is into crafting and stuff. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
So that makes a difference too. No, that sounds really cool. I will probably get Jenny's box again. I do enjoy having her box. I had cut back this year.
I may get it as well because it was fun to open, and like I said, I don't think that there was much that I'm like, I will never do anything with this.
Yeah.
Like the cell phone holder, I don't want to do it, but it'll also be a fun gift to give somebody to live rent-free in their head for a while. As much as I don't like doing hexies. But I did that, what was it, 2 years ago? Because I didn't have her address, I sent it with her son or her daughter, I can't remember which one, to give it to her, give her a table runner. And like it was a sampler table runner. It was made with Dresden plates. It's a cute table runner. Like I liked it, but I had no place that would fit in my house. And I'm like, I'm going to just be evil and live rent free in her head.
Do have that devious side, don't you?
I know.
I do like some of the things that comes out of Jenny's box. Now, I'm not going to do some of the, hand sewing and that, but um, I do like the variety. I do end up getting a few things that I probably would have never picked up off the shelf, but
And
then
that's
now
the
that
other thing is there was stuff in there that I'm like, I would never have picked this up, but I think that would be something that's interesting to have. Like
yeah,
the oh, where did I put it? I have no idea where I put it.
because it's
Right
like
here.
now that I have it, I'll
Like this.
probably try
I
it,
would have never bought this.
right?
And I'm like, this is one of the cutest things that I have
Yep.
from the Advent box. So, and again, that's why you have to think of it as gifts, because you're not going to buy yourself something like that, but a friend might buy you something like that.
Yep.
So as long as you visualize the Advent box as a gift from them, and you take it on that, instead of saying, I purchased this and I want stuff that I want purchased,
Yep.
then yeah, you have to look at it as a gift.
I like the people that post and go, it's funny you all call that a gift because you paid for it. So it's not a gift, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it is a gift.
It is a gift. I
I
mean,
understand that I paid for it, but I paid for it for John. That was a ho, ho, ho to John.
exactly.
And I don't know. I've enjoyed her box overall.
Jackie asked if I've seen Jenny's Hexie sewn with the sewing machine. I feel like I have seen that video, but I can't identify it. I would have to go look at it later. I have no issues doing hexies through hand. I learned how to do that. Oh gosh, how many years ago was that now? 8, 9, 10? A large number of years ago now, I learned how to do them. So it doesn't annoy me to do. It's just something that I'm like, I would rather not do. Well, I'm definitely not going to do a large, like grandmother's flower garden, but I don't mind doing a small handful of hexies if it has to be done. And Katie Crafts is talking about today's item will be really handy. Yes, I am bringing today's item to the retreat, but not talking about today's item because some people may not have opened it yet.
Gene says, I'm never buying the Missouri Surf, but like watching others' reactions. I think overall it's a good value.
Yeah.
I will say for the money I spend, I think I definitely get my money back out of her box. I did not feel that way with some of the other boxes that I've done. And I did cut back this year to 3 boxes. And I'll be honest, probably next year I'll go back to just Jenny's, I think.
The only disappointment I had was day 3 because mine were broken.
Yes.
And it sounds like a lot of people had broken ones because I know that they have a little bit of extra just in case something like this happens. But they have to go back to the manufacturer and get more made.
Which is great that they're doing that, but it's like it just kind of takes the initial enjoyment out of it.
I think that somebody was just packing boxes wrong, because my box got packed upside down, and if it had been packed upside right, it would have survived.
Mm.
So,
Crazy.
good morning, Stephanie.
No way. Merry Christmas, Stephanie. Oh no, she called us gentlemen.
She is being nice. It is Christmas. I mean, we can still be offended.
I was gonna say, I thought she knew you. Come on. So we both get to see Stephanie. How cool is that?
Yeah, a couple more days.
Mm-mm-mm. Um, where are we at?
I think she's starting her trek later today with I think she's meeting up with Stephen and Walter today, I think. I feel like that's what I've heard in the conversations. Because Stephen and Walter should have left sometime early this morning.
Because they drive down.
Yes, yes. Well, I think, well, I know Stephanie's driving down, and I know Stephen and Walter are driving down, and I'm driving up.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're already there, so it's about
It's
2 hours for
only,
you.
98 minutes away.
98 minutes. Lord have mercy.
I remember last year driving it, and like Georgia 400, which was in Smokey and the Bandit as a dirt road. It is now like 9 or 10 lanes, like right in where 285 and 400 meet. There's so many lanes of traffic.
Wow.
And then the furthest I had driven up it before was to when Georgia 400 turned into stoplights, which is where there's an outlet mall up there. I forget what the town is, but you go even further up and it turns into a 2-lane road. I'm like, this is getting a little scary. But yeah, when we got to the retreat center, or when I got to the retreat center, I'm like, this is a gorgeous center. And yeah, last year when I got to meet Stephanie and Stephen and Walter and Shannon, it was just amazing. And then everybody else who was at the retreat were amazing too.
I'm excited. We have we have 40 people at Coming to Stitch in Heaven. I know that because they keep sending me an email every week to let me know that they have 40 people in a wait list. Please confirm you are coming.
Stephanie said, "Did I hear banjos playing?" I probably could have.
They made a movie in Georgia about that stuff, didn't they?
Oh, they've made many movies here in Georgia, and some about that stuff. Because Avengers was filmed here.
No, I did not.
Yes. In fact, I got to see a couple of little bits of it filmed and stuff.
Did you really?
And then like Alvin and the Chipmunks, the airport is the Georgia World Congress Center, so I got to see some of that filmed. The Walking Dead was filmed here. And it's just amusing when you see stuff that's filmed and you're like, well, they made that seem a lot bigger, because there was a scene in Avengers where they go down this really long wall or something like that. It's in the first couple minutes. And I'm like, that is just a block long. It is not that long. So they do a lot of special effects to do that. And then what was it? Yeah, turning the World Congress Center into the airport was pretty cool. There was a TV show. I can't remember what it was called, but it was set here. and they did a chase scene down by Phillips Arena, Georgia Dome, CNN Center, and that. And I'm like, this is not the way the roads are set up down here. I mean, these are the roads, but you don't go from here to here to here. Although I think the best one was, have you seen Knives Out?
Yes.
So I was watching it a couple years ago, whenever it came out, and I was like, this place looks familiar. And I had difficulty placing it. And I'm like, I know. And then at some point I was like, I know where it is. It was it was like the street that I used to live off of in the Boston area.
No way.
Yeah. One of the chase scenes, it was that street, because I'm like, I know that place because there was one of the restaurants that we used to go to, and I recognized the restaurant. But yeah, I was like, that was pretty cool. And again, I pulled up the chase scene and just grabbed it scene by scene. I'm like, okay, this is here, this is here, this is here. Why are you jumping around? And I know it's because of dramatic effect and stuff, but it's just always amusing when you're watching something and you're like, well, this isn't quite right. And Dumb and Dumber 2 was filmed here in Marietta Square. Parts of it. Although the one thing that I'm really sad about, if you remember Joyful Noise, with Dolly Parton and Queen Latifah.
Yes.
The restaurant that they were in and had the little food fight with has closed down, so we can't go there.
Yeah, it's interesting because Metro Center, which was the first air-conditioned mall, and at one point, I guess the biggest mall in Arizona. Of course, now they're leveling it; they're tearing it down. But I have been in it, but not when it was active. I mean, they only had like 4 stores left by the time I moved here, but I've been in the mall. It's so sad to walk through those old things. But Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure was filmed there.
Oh.
So I went and bought the DVD because I was like, okay, I've never seen the movie, but I just think it's cool. I mean, when we lived in South Carolina, Edgefield, where we belonged to the country club, was where they filmed the new That Darn Cat. And so it's always interesting to, if you know the town, to go watch the movie and go, yeah, that's not right. No, they changed that.
It's like Love, Simon, the high school that they were in is Marietta High School, but the outside scenes were Grady High School down in Midtown.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, again, like I said, you can't have one perfect scene for everything. You may have place A, which is perfect for this, place B, which is perfect for this. But, I know your favorite stuff is Hallmark Christmas movies. Yes. And a whole lot of them are filmed in Western Massachusetts, Lee, Lenox, and Pittsfield. So, like, when I'm stuck watching them, I'll be like, oh, I know where that is. I know where that is.
He says stuck. Yeah, it is interesting talking, because I did get to hear the stars talk in that. I mean, like I said, the Hallmark experience overall was fine. It was not exactly what I anticipated, but it was interesting to hear the stars talk about, the directors and them are reminding them, you're cold, you're freezing.
Yeah.
Because half of them are filmed in the summer, and it's
right.
It's 110 outside with 100% humidity, and you're dressed in all these parkas and that.
Yeah, that would have to be miserable. I mean, especially for somebody like me who does not like to, wear a jacket or anything.
Yep.
And it's, 100 degrees outside and you're having to wear this.
All right, you know what? It's almost 8 o'clock, and we haven't done a giveaway.
Uh-oh.
Let's do
Sounds
that.
like somebody's slacking.
It is. So I have still, can you tell I bought a case of these? The 4 Christmas fat quarters. So that'll give you a jump on 2025. So let me go over and make sure that I set up Nightbot. All right, so if you put in exclamation point FAT, F-A-T, we will give our first giveaway this morning. Well, Jackie said Metro Center had an indoor ice rink.
Interesting. CNN Center used to have an indoor ice rink here in Atlanta.
Jackie says, Russ, love hearing you talk about Georgia. Spent many summers camping in Georgia near Okefenokee. Is that right?
That sounds like that's pronounced correctly.
And home with Central Florida for many years. Baluna says, I didn't realize the Metro Center was going away. It's been many years since I've been there. Yes, it's very sad. They've actually built the new light rail station there, and they did a really nice job with that, but they're leveling the entire Metro Center, and then it, like everything else, it's going to have a new shopping area along with apartments, along with condos, and that whole revitalization effort. So, and I think it's funny because I live out, North Phoenix with Arrowhead, and you can go here to the Arrowhead Mall, and it doesn't matter what day of the week or month you go, Arrowhead Mall looks like Christmas every day. It is hard to find a parking place. It's just, it's like, so it's funny when all these other malls are, dying and being torn down, that this one is just every store's full, and it's like, wow, what are they doing out here that, the rest of them didn't figure out?
Okay. So I know you know how to pronounce it, and I know how to pronounce it. But Alexandria put a town in South Carolina in the chat that you can tell if somebody's not from South Carolina if they cannot pronounce that.
Oh, I know how to pronounce that.
You don't know how to pronounce that?
I do. Yeah, I know how to pronounce that.
I was visiting. When I was dating a guy up in the Spartanburg area, they had somebody there, and on the news pronounce it Beaufort, and I'm like, that's not how you pronounce it. It's Beaufort.
Beaufort. That was in the movie. Wasn't that in the? Oh my gosh, the movie with Reese Witherspoon from Alabama.
Sweet Home Alabama?
Yeah, didn't they talk about Beaufort?
I don't know. It's been so long since I've seen that.
I swear I think they did. All right, let me push a button and see who's going to win the fat quarters. Choose a winner. Oh, Balloonist won.
Balloonist! Balloonist, you can go pick it up in person. No. At the Metro Gallery Mall or Metro Center, whatever it's called.
Congrats. Balloonist, just send me your address and I will get those out this weekend. It is john@guyscraft2.com. Congrats. Hattie said it was nice to spend time with everyone this morning. I have to go. My daughter will be here soon. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. So, Russ, I put in the chat, do you know how to pronounce that city?
Which Versailles? Okay. Let me rephrase that. I know that that's how it's not pronounced because that's what you just said. So is it Versailles?
So in Kentucky, we call that Versailles, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And it cracks me up because everybody goes, that's a French name and it's Versailles, right? Like, well, depends on where you were raised because it's just like I know Louisville's Louisville, and
Yeah.
people keep telling me it's Louisville, and it's not. It's Louisville.
We have the same thing with Ponce de Leon. It's a road here in Atlanta, Ponce de Leon, and we pronounce it Ponce de Leon, not Ponce de Leon.
Yep.
And we're lucky if we even say the de Leon in there. It's usually just Ponce.
Yeah, in the South, we kind of like just rolling things all together.
Exactly. We roll with it. It's close enough.
My Canadian friends always liked when I went up north because they would always ask me, "Hey, could you pronounce this word for us?" Yes, I can pronounce that word, and you know I can. You just want to make fun of how I pronounce that word.
Friend of mine who lives up in Cumming says there is a color in the rainbow in the primary colors that begins with a Y, ends in W, and he pronounces it extremely hilariously.
Yeah, he ends it in an R.
Nope.
Oh, no kidding.
He pronounces it Yalla.
Oh, with an A.
Yeah.
I had a sixth grade science teacher. He called it Yeller.
I mean, I get why people say Yeller, especially with the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did Yalla.
Well, we've had that conversation before. I grew up that everything was a Coke.
Yep.
And so it didn't
And
matter.
what kind of Coke do you want?
Yep. Yeah, that was a natural question, right? People look at me like I've got three heads, and it's like, they'll say, I want a Coke, just give me a Coke. And I'm like, well, what kind of Coke? And they think I've lost my mind. I'm like, it's the way I was raised. My parents absolutely did a number on me, let me tell you. Alexandria says there was another movie made, but I can't remember the name of it, but her ex-husband found her and wanted to, let's say, harm her. They just want to sound fancy and act like they know something, she says. Yes, I agree with that. Oh, Maureen says, I grew up thinking Coke or soda was called tonic.
Yep, some areas it's tonic.
This quilt's actually coming together. This piecing's coming together pretty fast for me.
I have several yards of fabric sitting behind my sewing machine right now because I've just been shoving them through.
Yeah, so this past weekend was Black Bag.
Oh, so, what'd you get?
Well, I went in to get my 40% off my 108 cut.
Yep.
But somehow I managed to find this that was $5 a yard. So so I was like, okay, well, that's not quite what I came in for. So I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13 cuts of fabric. But
talking about 108s, I went up to Cumming last week because a friend of mine has been liquidating stuff. Oh,
don't you love that?
That is awesome.
I had not seen this, and I thought, okay, so I've got to get that. I did pay, well, kind of paid full price for it. I got 30% off it.
But a friend of mine has been liquidating some of his inventory. He used to own a machine shop and stuff, and he has fabric and stuff. And I bought 2 bolts of 108 from him at $9 a yard.
See, when you get it like that, you've got to grab it. I mean, I've gotten spoiled with the long arm about not piecing my back So, because it takes long enough as it is, right? By the time you load the silly thing and then put your back, it's like it's long
Yeah.
armors earn their money, So I will never take anything away from a long armor because it's a lot of work. But 108 is a lifesaver, but it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Of course, this hobby is not cheap on anything.
Oh, Balloonist has some of that sewing machine fabric.
Oh, does she really? That's too funny. Oh, BBMK said bed sheet backings for the win. I have got several rainbow fabrics now for sewing. I've got one that's got rainbow buttons. I've got this one I just picked up and something else, but they're all by different, artists and whatever. And but I need to find a pattern that would really feature some of those because I think that would really be cool to have that rainbow effect as a sewer. And I do have wall
Yeah.
space to put stuff up. I really would like to get through some of the kits that I've got. I have way, way, way too many kits. So I do want to get through those and then do more on my own. I really want to start using my AccuQuilt. I have an AccuQuilt and I'm not utilizing it like I should.
I think kits are what I'm going to start working on after I get graduation quilts done, because graduation quilts are priority. And like even though I have the ones in May about to be done, I still got to get the ones for next May to be done, because my niece, with her broken leg, she is delayed a year, which gave me a little bit of a reprieve for making graduation quilts. I was able to pause hers. But yeah, I need to get hers done.
So I did. So my niece, I did. They're the one. She's the one that got the U of L quilt I did, and the fiance is the one that got the Marines quilt. I started those in February,
Yep.
and Monday night was putting the binding on so I could get those wrapped for when they got here Thursday to unwrap it. Oh my
Like I said,
gosh.
I got the binding done on Tibet last night, so.
I was like, but I started that in February. I purposely started it so I'd have all this time to get that done. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, working and everything else going on, it's like time just keeps getting away.
Yeah.
Brian says, wanted to know if the movie was Sleeping with the Enemy. Alexandria says, I grew up all over the world, so when the Southern comes out, that's when everyone knows they are in for it. Oh, girl, I understand. Alexander says, my hubby went to the quilt store with me for the first time, and he was really surprised about how much stuff was. And all I could say was, you said I needed to have a hobby. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I remember going to Cloth World with my mother because she sewed and made pantsuits back in the day. And I'm sure it wasn't cheap back then, but I
Well, I remember like when I met David and stuff, and we would go just gallivanting around. he would drag me to fabric shops and stuff, and I was bored out of my mind because it was before I was quilting and stuff, and before I even had an interest. And I was mocking him for quilting and stuff. Like, this is an old lady thing. And then I start quilting, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is fun.
All of a sudden, you were an old lady.
I mean, I never denied not being one. Although it's David's house that we do the whole. I take pictures of when he was living in Phoenix. I would take pictures of his house and his aunt's house, and I would send pictures back to friends and family and say, "Gay or old lady," and everybody had difficulty trying to figure out, was it this at David's house or David's aunt's house? Because he's very much old lady in his decorating.
I got some of those pictures. I remember. It is yeah, it's funny how our tastes change too, right?
Yeah.
It's funny. I do everything mid-century modern. That's what BBMK likes. And too funny that, like, I remember as a child, my aunt had the stuff now that I have to pay a fortune for because, that was modern back in the day, right? And it was like, I'd kill to have some of the stuff that she had. The original stuff.
Yeah, so some of the stuff that I've seen at the Brass Armadillo, I'm like, my mom had this when we were growing up.
Well, I remember I bought the Pyrex salt and pepper shakers, the little one with the little skinny neck, but the three-prong thing that sticks down and top. And I remember having those as a kid. Of course, you can't find nothing like that anymore. And I ended up getting them off, I think I bought it off Etsy of all places. And they were like 28 bucks.
Yeah.
And they were in the original package that said $1.99 when they sent them to me. But you have to look at Pyrex and some of these places and go, guys, there's a real appetite for this stuff. Like, you've got the molds. Why would you not like do a retro year or something?
Right.
Because there's plenty of us crazy people that would line up and buy it.
I think they did a retro with their measuring cup one year.
Oh, did they?
Because I remember seeing them in Target. And I was like, you need to do more of this.
My problem is I'm fortunate because I do stay out of the stores. I was talking to one of the neighbors yesterday, and they were like, well, when you go to the grocery and you just grab this and that, and I'm like, my grocery bills have gone down so much since I started just using Walmart delivery. And because there's no impulse, and
right.
So my impulse, unfortunately, comes because of Facebook. So if I didn't have Facebook pop-ups, I might save a lot more money.
My next door neighbor works for Publix. And at one point I asked him, I was like, why don't they have pecan pies out all the time? And he made some sort of excuse. He goes, you could always, custom order one. I was like, I can't custom order for an impulse buy.
You're not understanding. You're not getting this, are you?
I was like, no, I'm doing this all as impulse buy idea. It's not like I want it. And it's like I said, it's not like the cookies where I'm like, I have to plan to want it. And it's not the same because if you end up planning it, then the guilt is even more because you're like, I planned this guilt.
Yeah, that's I will say that's what I like about my Costco and Sam's is I do enjoy shopping in there. It is nice big wide aisles to get up and down in that, but I do tend to do more of my impulse buying there. It's just kind of crazy. I'm trying to cut back. I've stopped all my quilt kits and that for 2025. I have the ones from Stitches of Love that I'm already committed to for the year. So I will continue to get those, but I have tried to cut back for next year.
And here I've already got the next Fort Worth Fabric Studio kit that they are putting out. I think it starts the 30th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 30th, Monday.
My problem is you could see behind me, I have way too many already, and I need to finish what I've got.
David made a comment about that when he was here and you were on the TV. And I said, oh, hush, you can't be messing with John like that.
I can't help that I purchase faster than I sew.
We all can't sew as fast as Stephanie.
That's right. And she does. I'm still trying to finish the Christmas tree from Thanksgiving.
No. I've seen her sew in person at retreat. She is amazingly fast.
I bought a machine like her so I would sew faster. But, it takes so much time. The cutting's what kills me half the time. Trying to make sure I have enough squares all of a sudden.
So you have real work that you have to do the next few days?
I do, especially because I was off since last Thursday.
Oh.
So I know there were some things that went on Friday because I got an email saying, hey, we need this and this done. But since you're not around, do you want us just to do it in your place? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Just whatever. I was like, I'm playing pickleball, folks, right now. So not really in a good position to answer. And so I have no idea really what it was. And I thought Monday, when I was still on vacation, maybe you ought to log in and look at that. And I thought, you know what? There's not a thing you can do about it before Thursday. It is what it is. So, yeah, let's not log in because it's probably just going to drive you nuts. And let's just let it be.
The company is quote unquote officially shut down the week between Christmas and New Year's.
Nice.
But the problem is finance and accounting never stops.
Right.
And I support finance and accounting. But what we are doing over the next couple days is just going to be watching for basic support stuff. We're not doing any new projects related stuff. We're not doing anything exciting until I think the what is it, the 6th the 6th when we're actually officially back.
Now your boss retired, right?
Yep, she retired. Her last day was Friday. She sent out a very lovely, sweet email saying, thanks for the 15 years that we had together as a team, and that she's going to miss us, and that we should come visit her in South Carolina and stuff. She gave her address, and we knew she had bought the house, and we got a little tour of the backyard, but that was basically it. And when she gave her addresses, I pulled up Zillow and looked up what her house looks like, and oh my God, it's gorgeous. So I'm like, yeah, probably should come visit at some point.
Well, and used to be, and I'm sure it's still that way. South Carolina had some of the best home values in the country.
Yeah. And she's on the opposite side of the city as my brother that lives in South Carolina. So I'm like, I could come visit you and then, visit him and kill two birds with one stone and not have to.
I was gonna say now it's kind of hard for you not to try to make the excuse you can't, right? I mean, if your brother's right there.
My nephew is out there too. Basically folks that I don't care whether or not I see or don't see.
I have that part of my family too. I think we all have some of those floating around somewhere.
Yeah. It's just I can't go stay with family because they're all smokers and I can't deal with the smoke.
Oh,
So it's just like, okay, if I'm going to go out there, I now have to basically either do a day trip, which means, I have to get up early and then leave early so I can get home at a reasonable hour, or I have to get a hotel because I am not staying in a smoke-filled house at this age in my life.
no, and it's funny because I mean I was a smoker back in the day, and I don't, of course, I can't stand to be around it anymore, and it's just funny now when I see people smoke. It's so they're so there's it's they're much fewer than they used to be, right? I mean, it used to
Yeah.
be much more prevalent, and so it's funny now when I see people smoking. I'm like, oh, that just seems weird now.
Well, it's not just that you see people smoking, it's because they've limited indoor smoking so much.
Yes,
Except in South Carolina. Apparently there's not a non-smoking section in South Carolina in restaurants.
are you serious?
Uh well, I don't know if there's not a non-smoking, but I remember when we were there and I was like, why do I smell smoke? Because here in Georgia, you can't smoke inside. In like, I don't even know if there's a place that you can smoke inside anymore. Well,
Yeah.
maybe the bars you can still and clubs, but like restaurants, they don't have any smoking inside restaurants anymore. Um, so I'm just like, I've grown accustomed to it, and we went out to eat, and all I can smell is smoke. I'm like, but, oh yeah, South Carolina, they still have smoking.
Wow, that's hard to believe, isn't it?
They have their tobacco crops there, so they got to support themselves somehow.
I still remember when South Carolina had the airplane bottles at the bars. You go to the bar and they had all the airplane bottles lined up because they by state law they had to pour out of the airplane bottles. They couldn't pour out of a fifth because you were guaranteed a perfect pour every time.
Interesting.
Yep. So that was back in the 90s. So you'd go in a bar and they'd have thousands and thousands of these airplane bottles. And you watch these little bartenders, and I mean, they're just snapping caps all night long. But each bottle got taxed. And so it was to the state's advantage to have them taxing, you know,
Yeah.
30 bottles to make a fifth versus one bottle, of bourbon.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy. All right, I'm counting because, of course, I'm short. One,
BBMK says a lot have switched to vaping, which is in some cases worse. Although it is weird when you're in the park and you're like, why do I smell cotton candy? Oh.
Yeah, because I think a lot of them think it's so much better for them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting overall. I just can't imagine. All right, so I am 3 pieces short. How crazy is that? 1, 2, 3. I am. All right, I got this piece. I just miscounted the other.
I have one piece that I need to re-straighten, and then I'll have all of my sewing done.
No, are you kidding me?
Well, let me rephrase that. This step of the sewing done. Then I got to do a whole bunch of pressing.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting ready to do.
And then I got to do a whole bunch of sewing again. So that's going to be part of my plan is tomorrow morning I'll do all the pressing while I get everything caught up upstairs. And then after the pressing, I can bring everything down here with my laptop as I'm watching it and get the rest of the sewing done on these. Because I may be bringing these to Quilt Retreat. I haven't decided yet. Yeah, that's it.
Because you haven't packed yet.
No, I still got to do laundry too.
I did laundry yesterday. I feel like some days that's all I do, and I don't have that much laundry, but yet it feels like I have lots of laundry some days, and it's like
I don't know, with as many different Christmas sweaters as I've seen you wear this month.
And the sad thing is I bought 5 new ones in Kansas. I was like, really, I did not need another. Somebody at work goes, do you have one for every day? I said, yeah, pretty much. I don't have the Halloween. See, I need to work on Halloween next. That's what I need to work on. All right, I'm going to roll over here and grab 2 more pieces out of my layer cake. Of course, and then I'll have to cut those. So just kind of crazy. I don't know how I managed to come up short like that, but I did. That's what happens. All right, so let's see. I need 2 more 5 inches. Do that one. And this one, so I can make it really nice and wild. Sometimes I have the hardest time getting the layer cakes apart. So Russ, I haven't done the tulip pink yet, but look, is this not going to be enough to make people go, wow, wait a minute. This one's going to be a little loud and jump out, is it not?
It's always fun to have the loud ones.
Makes it fun. Oh, Mama, he's a fan, says, I'm new to your channel. Glad I found you guys. So let's put Russ's channel, make sure. So Russ, see if Nightbot's going to work.
I saw Nightbot up a little bit. Come on, Nightbot. You can do it.
There it is. So there is the link to Russ's channel. Russ, why don't you talk a little for a minute about your channel since she's new?
Let's see, what do I do on my channel? I have a whole bunch of shenanigans. That is, my favorite word to say what I do. I do usually a weekly live on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern, where we are sewing whatever the project of the week is. And I will tell you that starting in January, it's going to be the new Fort Worth Fabric Studio uh, Winter's Night project. It's a table runner. So I'll be sewing that up for a few weeks. And then I'm going to be starting the Kona block of the month sometime late January, early February. I haven't decided when that is going to start because I have a few people who want to join in on that. So we will be doing that together. I got to figure out when their kits are doing. And, working on many projects. And then on Wednesdays, I get a weekly vlog out that just tells all of the shenanigans that I got up to during the week. And then there's occasional special videos like sometime in the next week, I am going to be releasing a video about the t-shirt quilt that I made for a friend of mine whose husband passed away earlier this year. And he cried when he opened up the quilt, and I have that on video, so I'll be sharing it with everybody.
But it was a beautiful quilt too.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of there's a lot of work because that was my first t-shirt quilt, and I hated the stabilization process because you can't just throw knit through the sewing machine like this. And I was expecting a bunch of graphic tees like mine, and instead of getting a whole bunch of graphic tees, I got a whole bunch of pocket tees. So I took the t-shirts that I had, pulled up EQ8, and actually designed a custom quilt for him. And he got a fully custom out of the box quilt that is made from his husband's t-shirts.
That did take quite a bit of time though too.
Yeah. And what he doesn't know is I kept a t-shirt behind, and I'm going to make him a throw pillow with it.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Exactly. I just got to learn how to make a pillow. That's the thing that kept it from being in the box with it. But yeah, there was a few little Easter eggs that I threw in there with the t-shirt quilt. So I'm not spoiling those because you got to see the video to see the cool Easter eggs. But there was one of the Easter eggs. He's just looking. He's like, "I did not give you this. How did you do this?"
But I remember. So how long did you work on that?
I officially started working on it, I believe, in late August, early September. And it wasn't a complete focus thing because I can't do that. But I did. I worked on various pieces of it, and the design changed like 7 times in the middle of it too. Because initially there wasn't going to be any sashing, and then there was going to be this type of sashing, then that type of sashing. Like, I changed so much about it through the whole process. Luckily, every time that I changed it, it wasn't destroying any of the existing work that I did. It was always, adding another feature of it. And it was just a whole bunch of just getting it together. And yeah, he loves it to pieces. That's all that matters.
It does, right? Because at the end of the day, you got to step back and go, look, because no one will ever understand the work, the effort that goes
Yeah.
into some of this, right? And
well, all he was expecting was basically 10 or 12-inch squares put side by side and made into a quilt. That's all he was expecting. He got this, custom design. It's got some awesome blocks in it, and just little, like I said, little Easter eggs throughout it that are very awesome to him.
He also got Tula Pink, I noticed.
Yes, the sashing is Tula's basics, and the backing was a Tula Pink fabric as well. And the reason why I did that is because I know that Tula Pink's backs are so soft, and I wanted something that was going to be very soft for him.
Charlotte's here. She says, "Hello, John Russ. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas." Hey, Charlotte. Thanks for being here. Mama Isa fan says, "How long have you guys been on YouTube?" Because I have been on, was a year in June for me. So now I'm hitting what, 18 months?
Nice. I hit 2 years back in um August, I think it was September.
Wow.
I forget when I put up my first episode.
Well, and we try to forget some of the first videos we did.
Oh, I don't even want to go look back at some of my first videos. That they're pretty bad, but they're also hilarious to go look at. And if I compare my first video to, all I remember is it took me 4 days to edit my first video. That was a hard thing because I had no idea what I was doing with editing software, and it took me 4 days. And then now my editing software has gone wonky that my lips don't match my mouth in the software.
No.
Something updated, and it took me 3 times as long to edit my weekly vlog, which is coming out later today, because I didn't know if I needed to watch, if I needed to cut where the words were or where the video was. And when your video doesn't match your lips, it's hard to figure out where you need to cut. So I had to do a few like quick compiling of the videos just to make sure that I was doing things right. So it took me forever to get my weekly vlog updated.
Well, and that's what's funny because the recording itself is not that doesn't take that long usually.
Yeah, well, it takes at least as long as the video because
Right. But then it's the going back and watching it, the editing,
yeah,
re-looking at it. You know, it's like, okay, wow, really?
and then making sure like the ceiling fan is properly in focus so that people can complain about it. We get some crazy comments in our videos, and it's because some of us with ADHD has made comments to people like John and said, "Why do you have your ceiling fan on?" And he's like, "The ceiling fan's not in the camera." It's like, "But it's in this reflection over here." Or when I figured out that you have the exact same sewing machine tote as I do, because I saw that much of it in your video.
That's my Tula Pink.
Yes, I have the exact same one. But I saw like an inch of it, and I was like, "That's the Tula Pink Tudo carrier." And I text John, I'm like, "You have this, don't you?" And he goes, "How do you know this?" Because there's a sliver of it in frame.
So is that the one going to the retreat this week?
Yes, that is the one that is going to the retreat this week. Well, I have 2 machines that are going to retreat because some people need machines.
Oh.
And I still have my old Juki HZL 210 or something like that, 620. It's a number. It's just a Juki computerized machine. So I'm bringing that for somebody to use. I don't know who's using it yet. And then I'm bringing my travel machine. And I said, if push comes to shove, if I really need to, let me know. And I would figure out how to bring this machine that I'm sewing on here. But Stephanie's like, don't bring that machine. It's too much work. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it is. People don't understand, so it's interesting because Stitch in Heaven will rent you a machine. Actually, they
Uh-huh.
rent Bernina's of all things, and it's $50 for the whole retreat. Well, I hate to tell you, it's not worth me packing and trying to fly with a machine for $50.
Right.
And so, I ended up renting a machine, but it's like, it's just for me to go down the street to Quilt Club. I really have to stop and go, okay, well, which machine do I want to break down? Okay, I don't use that machine that often anymore, but it's fine for the day. It's like you
Yeah.
got to go through this whole process.
Yeah, it's crazy, and we would not be having all these issues if Stephanie wasn't heading out by plane right at the end of her retreat, because she could have brought in another machine, but because she's having to leave the retreat and head to Texas, she can't bring the extra machine or any extra machines for people. So we've been trying to figure out who lives close that has an extra machine that they can carry.
Well, and how cool, because um, Stephanie just became a Bernatech ambassador.
Yes, she did. I forgot about that for a minute.
So she's got an exciting 2025 ahead of her. So she's got a big couple of weeks coming up and then a whole year coming up.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we get to host QuiltCon. I won't get to see my Russ,
I
but
am
that's
still
okay.
so mad that I can't get to QuiltCon, because that would have been so much fun, but the hotels are just too expensive.
The flights are expensive anymore.
Well, there's that too. Like, I
Everything.
can't justify, $2,500 just for a couple nights in a hotel and a flight.
Yeah. Well, and then have money left over to spend
Right.
at
Yeah, that,
QuiltCon.
that that doesn't get me, all the filibertos that I want. It doesn't get me a trip to the Brass Armadillo. It doesn't get me the all the vending that I would want to do at QuiltCon, although I would have to severely limit myself because I'd have to ship it back. Not that I haven't done that before from Phoenix.
Yeah, it's just
And then I also, I have my trip to Massachusetts in May for graduation, and I have to do the same thing again next year. So, yeah, it's just like I really want to, but I can't. But 2026 QuiltCon is going to be back in Raleigh, so I am planning already on attending that.
well, just to be clear, no one won the Mega Millions last night.
I knew I forgot to play.
Oh no, I didn't. Lord have mercy. That's my retirement plan. Are you kidding me? I already had the note ready the text ready for my boss to say, look, I'll figure out how to get your equipment back to you. I shouldn't say that. I like my job. I have a good team. Fortunate, but I
As
would.
I've joked with friends and family, I'm like, if I won the lottery, I wouldn't tell anybody, but there would be signs.
I agree because interesting enough, half my family doesn't like me, and I bet that if I became the newest billionaire, I bet that some of that
That would
philosophy
change
would
very
change.
quickly.
Like, yeah, sorry. Remember though all those other years? That's crazy.
Yeah, I do love my job, and I wouldn't want to give it up, but I would definitely find a way to try to make it a little bit easier and less stressful. And basically say, um, you can cut back on my pay, and I just want the benefits.
Yeah. Yeah. See, for me, I would really like to have a big craft studio. where I
Uh-huh.
could go over and in one corner make wreaths, another one make floral arrangement, then go over and cut fabric and sew for a little bit, and then I'd really like to get a laser cutter engraver and play with my laser. That's
Oh, that would be fun.
yeah. And then somebody I think is getting a 3D printer, best I remember.
Really? Who?
Aren't you getting a 3D printer this weekend?
Yep.
I thought so.
I haven't figured out where I'm putting it yet still, but yeah, that's gonna be exciting.
It is. I mean, I've got a new friend that he has two. I think he has two or three 3D printers. So interesting enough, for holiday parties, I know you don't drink, but some of us do. Um, I bought the new Bartesian, which is the K cup, basically bartender,
Uh-huh.
and I've really had a good time with that. Um, Friends and neighbors have very much enjoyed that machine. But it comes with these special cups that they're kind of like K cups. It's got all the goodies in it, and then you add the
Yep.
liquor. And one of the things I was googling says, "Oh, look, here's how to take the 3D printer and make the holder for these." And I thought,
Interesting.
"Oh, thankfully I know someone now that has a 3D printer that says, "Oh, I've got to," I sometimes have to think about projects I want. I'm like, "Oh, well, guess what? I might be able to help you with a project."
One of my coworkers wants me to make him some D&D tokens uh so that he can have them for his game nights.
Yeah, be
And I was
cool.
like, I can do that as long as you decide which ones you want and how big and all that other stuff. And once I actually can figure out how to actually use it.
Yeah, because it's funny. Not only have the 3D printers come down in price, but even the supplies in that I think are a
Yeah.
lot better.
And there's a micro center down the street which sells the same brand 3D printer that I'm getting. So I can get any replacement parts that I need there.
Hmm. All right, guys,
I see.
8:48. I have another charm pack, so type in exclamation point charm, and we'll do another giveaway. This one is called Calico.
Exclamation charm. Ooh. Is that a Lori Holt one?
It is Riley Blake. Oh
Riley
yeah,
Blake.
Lori
Lori
Holt,
Holt. Yeah.
of course. Man, your see Lori Holt of Bee and My Bonnet.
Yep.
Goodness
She has
gracious.
some really cute, intricate designs. I love them. So a minute ago, BDMK asked, are the hotels at the other QuiltCons as expensive as they are there in Phoenix? The answer is no. When I did QuiltCon in Raleigh, uh, I wasn't right next to QuiltCon, but the hotel that I managed to get was like 150 a night, which was a lot cheaper than the uh like 250 a night that they were doing like right at the hotels that were hosting QuiltCon right next door to the convention center. Um I would imagine maybe Atlanta is probably back up in the higher range. It just really depends on where you are, what the hotels are going to cost. And if you get far enough out, I'm sure you can, but you can't easily get far out in Phoenix. I think that's the big problem with Phoenix is you can't get out, and then if you do get out, you're not getting back in, in a reasonable, like you'd have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning just to get to QuiltCon when it opens. And but like here in Atlanta, like when QuiltCon was here in Atlanta, I was able to leave my house whenever I wanted and get downtown very easily because traffic, I know the traffic patterns and stuff. Although I did Uber it because I was not dealing with parking downtown.
Parking downtown here is never fun. That's why I'm actually staying downtown. just because I didn't want to fight the traffic every day and that because traffic here. But the biggest problem here is the fact that everyone wants to be in Phoenix in February because of our
Yeah.
weather. So we've got the Arabian Horse Show. We have the PGA Tour coming through. Of course, it's right before all the spring training starts. Yeah, it's just it's a litany of activities, and then you add in something like QuiltCon. Like, well, that's just a drop in the bucket. It's not even something that's here every year.
Yeah.
But it will still be exciting. I've never been to one, so it will be exciting. I'm trying to save my pennies. That's why I've cut back on so many other subscriptions, so I'm not spending money just everywhere. Although it still feels like I'm spending money everywhere, but
If you go through the vendors and Sewing Doc is there, tell Andy, who's going to have green hair, that I said hi.
I will do that. Green hair. I'll remember that. You know that. All right, let's see. Let's see who wins the charm. She's a winner. Come on, Nightbot. Jackie won.
Yay, Jackie.
All right. Jackie, if you send me your address at john@guyscraft2.com, that will be awesome, and I will get that charm pack in the mail for you this weekend. BBMK says traffic here is a nightmare, and it so is. Especially when I work on the other side of Phoenix. Alexandria says, if I ever won the lottery, the first thing I would do is buy all the machines and the long arm and the electronics and all the fabric and kits and all the quilt goodies that we all love and want. She first may need to buy a new house or a warehouse.
I mean, yeah, that would have to be part of it too, because I would need to have some place to store at least any of this.
But it would be cool. How fun would that be? I am not living moment by moment. Of course, I have to say, I remember in my early days going to the grocery store with the calculator, and I remember at the time the wife and I buying groceries and going, "Oops, we're out of money and we're only on the fourth aisle." So either we start putting back or doing,
Yeah.
So I'm not at that stage of life anymore, but been there, done that. I mean,
Jackie needs you to repeat your email.
oh, let me put it in the chat.
That's usually easier.
Thank you. So it is john@guyscraft2.com. So it has been a pretty good holiday for me. Russ, have you played pickleball yet?
No.
So as part of my birthday, we went to Chicken and Pickles. So it's a new restaurant over in the Westgate Entertainment Center over by State Farm Stadium.
Uh-huh.
And they serve chicken, and they have indoor or covered pickleball courts. And so it's like it's kind of like Top Golf. So you go over and you get your drinks or your food or whatever, and then you play pickleball. And so it was very interesting. We had a really good time. The difference is they actually had some amazing food and prices. So they have like rotisserie chicken and things like, it was like,
Ooh.
oh, so like you all actually made this like semi-healthy. I mean, it wasn't because you go to. I like Top Golf, but it's so barish as far as it's all
Yeah,
fried.
it's bar food.
Yeah, and so I was like,
Although if you do a catered event, they have some really awesome food.
oh, no kidding.
Yeah, because the only times that I've been to Top Golf, they've had the cater events, and those are really good.
All I know is it's very expensive. Pickles and
Yes.
chicken was it's $40 an hour to rent the court.
Holy.
And I mean, that was like way cheaper than Top Golf when I was there.
Yeah.
So, so it was something fun, something different. So I belong to the pickleball league here in Sun City West, and I am actually taking lessons starting mid-January to learn how to actually play and get my um, number, because apparently you have to have your handicap or whatever when you start playing in the league. So I'll assume that they will understand that I am a handicap. Hit the ball.
I am not coordinated enough to play pickleball or any of those other sports ball type events.
I just thought it would be fun and something different. So we'll see. My knee survived it, but I don't know if it would on a regular basis.
Yeah, that is one of my problems is my knee. I messed both knees up as a kid. May or may not have been jumping up and down on the bed.
You weren't one of those kids that had to go outside and play, and then when the street lights came on, that meant you came inside, were you?
I mean, that was the rule. Like we weren't allowed inside during the day. So heaven forbid it was raining.
Yeah, yes, I remember those days too.
Yeah, but we were. I mean, we lived out in the boonies basically. So the main rule was we had to be home before the street light came on.
It was such a just such a different generation in time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I miss those
It's
days.
hard to believe that, we survived.
I tell you what, so I was real fortunate. The neighbors here had a brunch yesterday, so I went to brunch with a bunch of neighbors for Christmas Eve. So it was nice. I was on holiday and was able to do that. And but we were talking about nine COVID just seems like almost like a dream or a nightmare, or it's like it's hard to believe like our country shut down and what we went through, because everything seems to have just be back to normal, right? I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
you don't see people with a mask. You don't see people, you see people coming to work sick now and coughing and sneezing on you. And it's like, no, we don't do that anymore. Remember, we learned our lessons about that.
Well, we think they learned their lessons about that.
Yeah. So I thought, how interesting though that, we've just moved so far beyond that we don't even think about it anymore. Nor do I ever want to go back to that. I just can't.
Right.
But it is just funny. I mean, I remember just, like shopping, you couldn't get, only so many people could go in the grocery at a time, and just
The beginning of it was when I was trying to get my kitchen remodel done, and yeah, they were limiting the number of people in Home Depot at a time.
yeah.
And I was like, I have an appointment.
Well, you probably lucked out because you were early enough. Did you have to
Yeah, before all of the yeah.
supply Supply
Yep.
chain issues, yeah.
Yeah, I was extremely lucky because now that said, did have contractor problems, but I'm not doing disparaging remarks about people.
It's Christmas, you gotta be nice. You already did your Grinch this morning.
Just remember, the Grinch didn't hate Christmas, he hated people,
Like
which I
that.
kind of get.
I tell you what, ever since COVID, I understand that. I mean, there's days I can run out and just go to 2 stores, and it's like, yeah, I'm just like the other day, it just cracks me up the other day. I got a little frustrated at the grocery because number one, I don't like doing self check. I don't feel like I should do self check or have to do self check. So you could tell like this lady had just finished and was paying for her order. So I go over and get in line. I only had like 5 or 6 things, set everything down, and then I hear the woman go, "Well, that's not the phone number I wanted to use for my rewards." And the woman goes, "Well, this is the number you put in." She goes, "Yeah, but I use a different number here." And she goes, "Well, we can't reverse it. We can't change it." And she goes, "So, like, you can't fix that?" And she goes, "No, it's the number you put in." She said, "The only way for us to do it is for me to void this order, unbag everything, and recheck everything."
Right.
She goes, "I'm good with that. That's not a problem." And I thought, okay, you do see others of like, really? So I pick all my stuff up, go over to self check. I bought something that was on sale, and so the thing starts yelling at me that it needs a special scan and that help is on the way. But it would have been okay if it would have said help is on the way, but it kept telling me every 3 seconds that help was on the way. And I'm like, okay, now you're irritating me because help is not that fast. It was like, oh, I was like, this is why I do Walmart delivery. This is why I just don't deal with this stuff.
Well, I went through Walmart Saturday and they were not very helpful there. First of all, they didn't know what a butt pillow was. And I'm like, okay, think about it. A pillow for your butt. Um, but when I got to the register, I was like, I do not want to deal with the self checkouts because there were super long lines, and there was a couple of registers with short lines, and the guy at the register just could not be bothered. Basically, I don't know whether he just wasn't feeling well or what, but he was just in the most foul mood. And normally, when I make a comment that the guy at the register has the most foul mood, I'm like, that's the last time I used self checkout. But this wasn't self checkout, and yeah, I was just like, this is why I don't go shopping if I can't help it.
Yeah. It just seems like society has just gotten so mad. That's why I like our YouTube channel. It seems like, it's such a supportive group. We all seem to, we've got, of course, the same interest, but I don't know. It's just, you get outside in the real world and it's like people are just mad about everything and just, and it's like, wow, I mean, like, that's got to be a miserable way to live all the time.
Yeah. Why you got to be angry all the time?
Maureen says people have gone back to being rude again.
You have to do something very special and bad for me to be rude to you.
I have learned just to walk away. I just shake my head and walk away because it's not going to change anything.
Yeah. Which is why I said you have to do something super special and bad for me to be rude to you. I mean, even this morning at QT, I wasn't rude. I just said, "Can you make this right? Because it's not."
Did you make what I actually ordered?
And I mean, I'm sure she was confused, but you know, I don't understand how you can have lived in the South and not have had eaten biscuit and gravy.
Right. Real biscuit and gravy.
Right. And there's a couple people that work in the QT kitchen that I have a great rapport with and will chit chat and converse with and talk. She is a newer one, and yeah, I'm like, yeah, I I would rather have my food taste right and not have to get a chainsaw after it. So I'll make a comment, especially since it's happened like twice in the past few months.
Well, and food's gotten so expensive. I mean, eating
I
out is
know.
not cheap. So I had someone over for dinner last night, and it was like, well, we talked about eating out, and we also talked about um, cooking. Like, I really don't care what you want to do. And they were like, well, we ate out all weekend. Like, could we not just, And so I had bought from Sam's some mushroom and cheese ravioli. I
Oh,
had
that sounds good.
it was amazing. I had that in the freezer, so I threw that in the pot, and then I had some marinara sauce that I doctored up and added mushrooms in that too, and it was really good. And I was like, yeah, this was so much better than eating out again. It's just and just so expensive. It's like I just don't want to spend. I don't want to spend money on food now. I'd rather spend it on fabric.
Yeah, especially with, the way that prices have gotten with fabric and they're about to go even higher.
Oh my god! Right. All right. So this is going to be wild. Look at this. So it's row one. This
Oh,
is
that's a lot of fun.
isn't it? It's going to be a big quilt though.
Did you buy that as a kit or did you pick out your fabrics?
I picked out my fabric. So these were both layer cakes, right? So I cut the layer cakes up to make
Okay,
this pattern. So, but that's the moonkin pattern.
nice.
So it's the first time I've done a moonkin. So it's kind of nice when I went out and grabbed it. So that will be fun. I did cheat on dinner today though because our Sprouts, which is like a local Whole
Yep,
Foods,
we have sprouts here.
do you? Okay. Um, they had standing prime rib roast for $89. You got a roast prime rib to feed 6 to 8 people with cranberry salad, stuffing they call it, and mashed potatoes.
That
So
sounds like a good price.
I thought so, and I thought, you know
You
what,
can't
that
eat out for that, definitely.
no, and I thought that's 2/3 of the meal. So I am making because John just has certain things he can't live without. So I am making broccoli casserole to go with it, and Paula Deen mac and cheese,
Nice.
and corn pudding. I got to have my corn pudding,
Nice.
but that's simple enough. I can do that after the live today. We can still have a nice meal. And it's funny because I don't eat leftovers. I hate leftovers.
They're horrible.
But for holidays like this, I like my leftovers.
Yep.
Makes no sense, but because even my niece goes, "You throw a lot of food away," and I'm like, I won't eat it. I mean, I can put it in the fridge if it makes you feel better, but
I'm
like
not
I
going to
won't.
eat it.
Yeah, I mean, a week from now, I'm still throwing it away. So I've just learned. I've done better. I try to be better about portions and buying exactly what I need,
Yeah.
but that's not always easy. All right, I got 3 more things to give away, so we should do that before time gets away from us. So let me fix my bot again. All right, this time I have another charm pack.
How charming.
Oh, look at you. This one is, oh, it's our favorite person. It's the Grinch. So if you will type in !charm again, we will work on giving this charm pack away. I have to say this quilt is coming together pretty quick.
That's awesome. I've gone on to my sister's graduation quilt blocks.
Look at you. So you're making some headway today.
Yes.
I am hoping the first of the year when I get back and get settled, I would like to play with Adam at Adam Sews and try to start doing a tote once a month.
To do the what once a month?
Just do some type of tote.
Oh, yeah.
The running with scissors or all the different, he said Annie's got those first
Yeah, I have
really
thought about trying to take a lifetime and do a bag, but at the same time I'm like, that feels like that's going to be very stressful because you don't want to do something that you've never done and do it first time on a live because you're going to fumble. But I have no issues embarrassing myself on a live, so knowing that I may or may not do it right. So I'm like, do I not?
Yeah, I do think as content creators, we kind of get over that. Well, I think one of the reasons I started my channel, right? Because I'm very new to sewing. Somebody just told me, now I don't remember. Someone just told me, because I got the 1.5-inch strips,
Yep.
and they told me those are called honey buns.
Honey buns.
I did not know that. So it was nice that someone put in the comments on my video that that's what those were called.
They also, at some point in the past, had triangle shapes, and they called them turnovers.
No, really?
Yeah. I don't remember how big the triangle shapes were, but it was something that ended up being like kind of in the shape of a triangle.
Nice. So for me, that was kind of the whole point of starting the channel, right? Was I'm new to this. I'm fumbling my way through. If you have patience, you can help
And yeah, and that's one of the things that I really like about my channel, because there have been many times that I have done a giant goof on my live and said, I will figure out how to fix this later and I'll let you know how I fixed it, because I may not be able to fix it immediately on the spot, but I can fix things after I think about it for a minute.
Well,
but the whole don't try something new. This past Saturday over on Stephanie's channel, we were working on the Bumbleberry Pie block of the month, and I was like, there's flying geese in it, and I'm not a fan of the way that the pattern does their flying geese. And I have the flying geese paper that I can make at home using triangulations, and they also have this where you can do multiple flying geese in a row. And that's what you're doing. I was like, well, let me do that. And I ended up making this, and I'm staring at it for a second, and I'm like, something doesn't look right. And it's because I don't have my seam allowance up here.
Oh.
So if I had done this live, I would have had my block entirely screwed up. I'm glad that I actually tried it on my own and figured out, oh, I need to add a seam allowance on here, because the way that the pattern is it was intended for 4, and I didn't think to cut it off for 2. So yeah, there's been a lot of things that I've just tried randomly. So that's why I'm not afraid to try to do a bag live. In fact, I have done a bag live. I did a canvas bag. I think it was a panel,
Oh, okay.
and I watched the video like 6 times before I made it because I wanted to have at least some semblance that I knew what I was doing. So if I did do a buy any bag, I would have to purchase the tutorial video, watch that 5 or 6 times, and figure out how I'm going to break it out, because I know I can't get a bag done in a single session because they're big bag. There's a lot of stuff. I don't know how Adam just pushes them out like that.
And he does, and they're amazing.
I get to bring mine to retreat that I got from him.
Oh, look at you.
Which is one of the things that I have to pack. I have to pack my notions and stuff in there because I've not done any anything outside of my sewing room in the past year. So the last time that a machine was used by me that wasn't in here was a year ago at Stephanie's retreat. So I hadn't had the need to pack up my goodies into my new case.
All right, let's choose a winner. Laura Sup is the winner.
Yay, Laura!
Let's go back. So if you will do John at Guys Craft 2. All right, if you will send me your address, Laura, I will get the Grinch out to you hopefully this weekend in the mail. Tell you what, these patterns are so wild, trying to match them up and not make them totally crazy is not easy. Or this one. Be interesting once I get these rows put together to see it all come together.
Yeah, that's always the fun part. You can create a block or a row, but it still doesn't do anything until you start to see it like fully come together. That's one of the things that I really like about the Missouri Star tutorials is they'll say, okay, this is one block, and then this is how it shows itself in the quilt, but this is also the secondary patterns, so that you can see how the secondary patterns are made from the block.
Yeah, because it really does make all the difference. It's like,
Yeah,
wow, that doesn't even look, doesn't even look the same anymore. It's crazy. That's that. I will say this quilt is turning out much bigger than I thought it was going to. You really notice it when you have to put it on the long arm.
yeah.
But you cheat. You buy your batting pretty much to size when you're doing getting ready to long arm, don't you?
No, I will go to that big box store that begins with a J that has coupons.
Yep.
And I will say, give me like 6, 8, 10 yards of batting.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And like, because they have like a brand that I am accustomed to using, and it doesn't go bad.
Right.
So I will just say, give me for just a large number, because that way I don't have to come back for a while. And then I will trim it down on my own. But David recently purchased a giant spool of batting, which is giant. I don't know how many yards of batting are on that spool. And I'm like, I don't know how to even manage this, because I can't move it around or anything. Like, I have a feeling that it's just going to sit there. And I got to be cautious, where I put it, because if the cat decides that it wants to rub up against it, then I'm going to have cat hair all in the batting. And I don't want to have to toss batting, like a layer of batting, like you pull off lint roller. I don't want to have to pull off layers all the time and say, okay, this is trash, this is good.
Yeah, because it's because I buy mine by the roll. I now have 3 rolls, but it gets to be a lot to store. It gets to be a lot to try to figure out how to get it somewhere where I can handle it, to get it cut to,
Yep.
It's like,
Yeah. So when I go to get my batting from said big box store, it is folded in half once already, and I'll order, like I said, 8 yards of it, and I'll say, since we have this big giant table, can we use it and fold it in half on itself again? So I've only got, roughly 30 inches of height on it, as opposed to 60 inches of height, or whatever the dimensions are. And they're like, sure, why not? and it helps, again, when you're nice to them. You make sure that you don't ask for crazy stuff when they're busy and all that other stuff.
yeah, for me, a lot of times it is about when you show up in that store.
Yeah. Like, if it's a crazy day for them, I want to make their job as easy as possible with my stuff. I'm not going to go ask for crazy special order stuff. I'm not going to go ask for this. I'm just going to say, what is the easiest stuff I can do? And again, they've gotten to know me because they know that I buy the batting there, and they're usually happy because, if there's been times where there's been, a yard left, or sometimes even 2 yards left, and I'd be like, you can't easily sell that, or it's going to be a pain in the neck for you to put back on the wall. Give me the rest of it. And they're just like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, that's just too much work on you guys.
Yeah, because we talk about the 108, right? Which is
Yeah.
great, but I'm lucky. I have a pretty big table to work off of, but still, I've got to make sure the table's pretty much clear to deal with, the backing, the batting. It's like, it's not for the faint of heart. Man, I've rethreaded this needle 3 times, so we're going to hope this time it actually worked.
If you need to keep rethreading your needle, you might need to change your needle.
Aww. Worked this time, but you know what? You're right. I probably do need to. It's been a while since I've changed that needle.
That was when David was visiting and working on the long arm. I told him ahead of time, I was like, the needle needs to be replaced, but he did not replace it when he started working on the quilts. And it was fine until the last, like, 2 rows, and it was breaking thread constantly. And he goes, I don't understand what's going on. I was like, did you change the needle like I told you to? No. I was like, let's change the needle. I'm not going to tell you that he put the needle in backwards and still had issues.
But if somehow it comes out, that's not your fault, right?
I mean, and that may or may not have been what happened. And he's like, "Why is this still a problem?" I was like, "Did you put the needle in right? It can only go in one way." I was like, "That's not right." So I pulled it up and I was like, "See, you put the needle in backwards." The swears that were coming out of his mouth. You don't expect that from a good little Mormon boy.
There's certain things I don't do on lives for that reason. Everybody thinks I'm nice and have lots of patience. I was like, yeah, let's not ruin that fantasy.
I think that's a lot of us that are on YouTube. We can, like, even at work, everybody's like, "You have such patience." I'm like, "Yeah, you haven't seen me when I'm actually working."
Well, and I work in HR, so I mean that's part of what my job is. But at the same time, it's like, guys, I get frustrated just like anybody else, and I get fed up, and I get tired, and like, why would you think I don't? I
Right.
mean, my problem is I don't deal with stupid. That's my problem. Just don't want to. Uh, I have to get the double, triple X jar out.
Oh.
That's my needle jar. Because I realized tossing these in a garbage can probably was not the smartest thing, especially when I like to keep pushing the garbage down.
So what I do is, because I have broken enough needles accidentally, I have empty needle containers, and I mark those with an X to say that they're dead needles. So I'll put dead needles in those X ones so that when they get put
Ah,
into the trash, it's its own, like, I'm just basically recycling instead of creating my own sharps like you're doing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
Because you're basically creating one of those, like they have in the hospital for needles,
Yes.
which is not a bad idea either.
No, I never thought about what you're doing, though. That makes sense.
I do the same thing with rotary cutters. I've got mine my containers that have X's on them, so that the dead ones go into here, and then when this is full, then I just toss this in the trash,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I'm not slicing my fingers when I'm taking the trash out. Ooh, a Tic Tac container is good for needles too.
Oh, that makes sense. And
I
that's
haven't
really
had a
nice
Tic
to
Tac
know.
in ages. It's been so long, I don't even remember what my favorite Tic Tac flavor is.
I have to say, I always liked the orange Tic Tacs.
Those do sound like a really good flavor.
It was just because I'm not a fruity person usually. I like spearmint and things like that, but for some reason, I always like that orange Tic Tac. All right, I changed the needle while we were live, and we're going to see if this works. I still haven't figured
Speaking
out
of
how to
things
get.
that people don't like to do when you're live.
Oh my goodness, really? I don't change my needle as often as I should.
None of us do. And they're so cheap. It's like, Why aren't we?
It is, it's just habits, right? I mean, it's what. When I had the embroidery, the commercial business, that was the first thing we did each morning was change every needle.
Yep.
And when you have a 15 needle machine and you have 4 of those, that takes a little time. But it really made the day so much better.
Well, when I was helping teaching classes and stuff, we would have people come in and you can hear the needle and stuff. And I would have to go up to people. I'm like, okay, either you have a wrong needle in or you need to change your needle. And they're like, what do you mean change your needle? And I'm like,
oh, okay. That's not a good sign.
Well, we've had some people come in with the ballpoint needles for foundation paper piecing. And I'm like, you don't want to use ballpoint needles with foundation paper piecing. That's a lot of work on your needle, putting stress on your machine. But people don't know that there's a difference in needles until you have that opportunity to educate them.
Yes.
And then they're thankful when they learn. It's just you're sitting there like, how do you not know this? How long have you been sewing and not know this?
Yeah, because every needle has a purpose. Look at that. It's just so pretty when you put a new needle in, too.
I know.
2, 3. All right, let's do. I have 2 more giveaways, so it's already 9:30. We might as well do another one. Make it worth people's while being on here listening to us rattle on today.
Exactly.
Right? It's the whole point of Christmas. So this one is, it's another Fat Quarter. I actually bought these a couple of years ago from the Fat Quarter shop. It's called Eve Fierce by Art Gallery Blanks. It is a collection of fat quarters. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think there's 10 in here.
Oh, those are fun.
Yeah, it's a really cool collection. So I thought, all right, so let's put that out because John's not going to get to that anytime soon. All right, if you hit !fat, that should pop up in the Nightbot for us again. Alexandria says, I love it. Fingers crossed. I want to start working on my Tula.
I will not admit to how many Tula kits that I have that I haven't started.
I keep waiting, thinking, okay, I now have 2 drawers full of Tula pink. And I keep thinking, well, but I want to have just the right. And it's like, okay, you got to quit saying you need just the right. Just the right pattern. It's like, okay, if I keep waiting for that, it's never going to happen.
That's why I buy my stuff as kits. Because if I just buy random fat quarters, then it's never gonna get done as anything.
Yeah, because it's a lot of work to put together.
Yeah. Well, it's also, if you buy a fat quarter bundle and you're looking for a perfect pattern, and the perfect pattern is going to say, you need half yards, you don't have enough fabric, or you need quarter yards of all of this, but then you need a couple of them that need to be half yards. It makes it harder.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't usually buy stuff unless I can find a pattern, unless I know I have a pattern for it.
All right. All right. Let's see who's going to win. Choose a winner. Jean.
Congratulations, Gene.
So, Jean, if you will send me an email with your address, Lord, my mind just went blank. It is Christmas morning, right? With your address, I will get that out this weekend, hopefully. And if you would just put in the subject that you won the Animal Fierce back quarters, that would be awesome.
I need to step away for about 1 minute. I'm stopping my camera.
No, we're all good. So, guys, I plan to be live again this Sunday. So, I feel like I've been such a bum with everyone the last few weeks, but it just, life happens. There's been so much going on. And I'll be honest, as much as I was looking forward to the holidays and having a little time off from work and that, I'm almost just as anxious to try to get back to some normalcy. I mean, I love decorating the house. I got all that done. I'll enjoy cooking today. I'll enjoy having some of my neighbors over later, some of my friends. They're bringing desserts today at 5 o'clock, and we're all going to have desserts and that together, and maybe a few spirits. I have good eggnog and I have spiked eggnog, all of those goodies. But because I believe no one should be alone on Christmas. And so the friends that I have that I know don't have family close in that or have no one to spend today with, I wanted to make sure that we had at least an opportunity to be together. Because it really should be about us being together as friends and family and sharing all those good things in life. Um, we all have a lot of things to be thankful for. We all have our own issues at times and our own things that drive us nuts, but you know what? That's what makes us all family, right? So all of that fun stuff today. And so we will get that going, get that accomplished. I am making biscuits and gravy as soon as the live is over because I have not had breakfast. So I got up early enough, but I did not get everything going this morning, and that's okay too. But I really like the way this quilt is turning out. Like I said, it's much bigger than I thought, but look at some of these patterns, how they're coming together with the butterflies. Then we transition into pinks and the greens. So it's definitely, and then I've got some darks mixed in. So I think it's really, at the end of the day, going to be a really cute, popped out quilt. And that will make it fun. All right. And then it's hard to believe I got to go back to work tomorrow. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's Joydy. Welcome in, Joydy. Thanks for being here. Jackie says, I was planning on a quiet day, but my son and his girlfriend wanted to come over, so no way I can tell him no. I completely get that. I get that. It's always fun to see your kids. My son supposedly is coming to see me for the end of January. So his new girlfriend's, um, her mother lives in Tombstone, Arizona, which is about 3.5, 4 hours from here. But she's coming to see her mom, so that means I get to see my son.
I think I counted wrong.
No.
Well, it's not that I counted wrong. I read the wrong column in the pattern, which explains a lot of what I was looking at, so I'm fine with it. But I need to cut more fabric for my sister's quilt because I cut everything for the twin size, not for the queen size.
Do you have enough fabric though?
Oh, absolutely.
So that's a good thing. I mean, it's
Well,
nobody wants.
I was like, why did when I was cutting all the fabric a couple weeks ago, I was like, why do I feel like I have more than I should? But oh no. Never mind. I just realized I haven't gotten to certain fat quarters to cut because I'm now looking at what I have in here, and certain fabrics aren't in here, so I just haven't gotten to them to cut. It's not that I need to go grab more out of the stash. I just hadn't gotten to them to cut, which means I'm behind.
Oh.
If it's not done by the end of retreat, I can still ship it to Stephanie to do the quilting.
Yeah, that I was gonna say that was the only thing you were hoping for, right?
Yeah, I was like, I also want to make sure that it's not stressful on Stephanie's schedule to get it done, which is why I was hoping to get it to her at retreat. But it is what it is. I'm not gonna stress over it. And it's only a handful of dollars to ship it to Stephanie. I just need to get a slightly smaller of those giant Ziploc bags. That's the only thing I can call them. The space saver bags.
Yes, yeah.
I am not shipping a quilt unless it is in a bag.
You mean versus a box?
No. It's gonna go in a box, but I want the protection in case it gets wet.
Yeah. Once you hand the box over, you have no idea where that's going to be. It's going to fall off the back of the truck in a snow pile, or
my sister has had FedEx boxes shipped to her house, and they've been dropped in puddles. And I was like, okay, so in fact, it was one of them was dropped so bad I had to do a FedEx claim in order to get a gift replaced with her because it got ruined where they dropped it.
That's so crazy. I was telling you earlier, my daughter, they were opening Christmas last night. So for my son-in-law, I purchased him the Flaviar. He's a big bourbon drinker. So Flaviar has a club that you can join. He only got 3 months because that's what Papa John could afford. But he gets 3 different bottles of bourbon based on scoring and all this stuff. And so it's just something different, something for him to enjoy. They were supposed to send a handwritten card telling him what his gift was and all that, and they mailed it on like the 16th of December. He still hadn't got it. My daughter's like, well, yeah, because she said we won't get mail for 10 days and then they bring us like a box full of mail. She said that may be why they just recently fired our mail carrier and now we have a new mail carrier. I'm like, well, I like the last mail carrier you had because I used to text her and I'd say, hey, I saw you got your package today. And she'd say, no, let me go look in the ditch because the mail carrier, if it didn't fit in the mailbox on the road, she'd throw it in the ditch. She wouldn't walk up and set it on the front porch.
Oh, no.
And so my son-in-law, being the policeman he is, has cameras everywhere. And so they had to take it over and show the postmaster, look, here's where your mail carrier keeps throwing our mail in the ditch. Yeah, it's like, wow. I thought, you all have
Yeah,
a lot of trouble with mail carriers.
we've had a couple substitute mail carriers in the neighborhood that have, like, I have, again, on camera, she drove the vehicle up the driveway, holds the package out of the car and drops it on my sidewalk and then backs down. And I reported that one. I don't know if she was terminated or not, but I did report it. But our regular carrier, I think his name is Hank. He is awesome.
Yep.
Like, he will come up and take or bring our packages up if we have something that won't fit in the mailbox. We invite him to our neighborhood block party that we have in the summer. So he could we're like, schedule your break around this time or schedule your trip to the neighborhood around here. And he adjusts everything and we invite him over. We have a little chit chat with him. He is super awesome. And he stops me one day. He goes, "Do you sew?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Will you teach my daughter?" And I'm like, "No." Because he's seen, like, my orders that I've
Oh,
gotten
yeah.
from various places that I have ordered from that I do not deny ordering from. And he said that his mom used to sew, and she never taught him, and he has no way to teach his daughter, and his daughter's starting to show some interest. And I was like, yeah, I don't know an easy way to tell you, but it is just way too much work for me to, try to teach them. And it's not just teach somebody sew, it's you'd have to teach them how to use the machine. And if they want to sew clothing and not quilts, it's a different process. So I'm just like, yeah, here's a whole bunch of places that I can suggest you can learn. But yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. Last year, my daughter made the comment. She said, your son-in-law got the wild hair that it might be, since we're all going to be at the beach together, he thought it might be cool if we went and bought a sewing machine while we were there, and that you could teach him how to hem pants in that. And my daughter said, I'm not sure, but knowing dad, he probably could hem pants, but you might want to check the weather forecast to see if that's going to be something that will happen on the trip. Oh my God, I raised such a good kid. So I was like, yeah, no, daddy's not hemming pants. It's, I've done a lot
Yeah,
of things. In
I've
fact, I
tried
work,
hemming my pants once, and I said, nope, I'm paying the experts.
I say, isn't that what they have stitch witchery for? But my mother always told me. And she was basically a seamstress, and she hated to hem pants. Crazy. All right, last giveaway because it's 10 till. We got 10 minutes. Dragons, Tula Pink threads again.
Ooh.
Chlorophyll threads. Look at that. So exclamation point thread will get you entered for this.
I'm entering this one.
We're gonna say Russ might like these. Ah, I bought a couple of boxes of those, didn't realize what I bought, and then I had them on that Etsy store for a little bit. I thought, you know what? Let's just make those fun and make that for Christmas, right? So much going on. Well, it was fun being with you today. I
It has
appreciate
been
you
a
reaching out.
very fun morning, and then I got to figure out how to get my laptop set up in the living room in order to open up gifts with my sister.
You know, it's so funny that we don't sometimes appreciate the technology we have, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like I get to be with my grandkids so much now because even though they're in Virginia, we're still together.
Uh-huh.
It's like because I hardly ever saw my mom and dad.
I sent my cousin a awesome gift box for Christmas, and she texted me. She's like, "Can I open it now, or do you want me to wait till later?" I was like, "You can open it now, or I can send you a Zoom link or a Messenger link later. We can open it together." And she goes, "Okay, I'm gonna open it later with you," because she sent me a little package too. She's gonna love hers. It's a whole bunch of like really. I have a T-shirt that I loved, and then I found out a handful of years ago that a friend of mine from college is besties with the artist. So I bought a whole bunch of stuff from the artist, and the artist has two really cool books out that are very how do I put it, pro feminine, and it is
Oh,
that's very much the same attitude that my cousin has. So I'm like, these are going to be perfect for her. So I sent those up to her along with an emotional support chicken.
oh, look,
Oh, you got yours?
I got mine. Everybody in the
Oh,
family got them.
sweet.
Are they not adorable? Charles is going to be on the channel sometime in January.
Nice.
So yes. So my daughter calls and
Make sure
goes,
you let me know so that I can, be in the chat and taunt him a little bit.
I will. It was so funny. My daughter goes, emotional support chickens. Like, really? I'm like, oh, you don't understand. This guy in Georgia hooked me up, just so you know. She's like, she's like, I don't even need explanation anymore. Just, he sent the cards and everything with it. They turned out
Yeah.
so cute because he sent the card and he
Yep.
signed it. And I don't know, they were just such a neat gift. He did such a nice job. I so appreciated it. So I appreciate you hooking us up. All right, let's see who wins the last giveaway. Choose the winner. Carl.
Yay, Carl.
So, Carl, if you will send me your address and just put in the subject that you won the thread, I will get that shipped out and it will go to it'll go out to the post office because my postman loves to come up on the stoop on when I have a bunch of stuff going out. Tell you what, a good postman is invaluable.
Yes.
Well, and UPS FedEx too. I mean, I've got a great UPS guy.
I haven't seen the sexy FedEx guy in ages.
I was going to ask you, I know if I ever ship to Russ, it's got to go FedEx.
Like this past weekend, I think he just had to been put on a different route because we've been having Keith for a while for the regular route, and then on weekends we've been having Sharif. So, although one of the neighbors thinks Keith is a hottie, so
It's funny though. I hardly ever get anything FedEx. Seems like everything I get is UPS.
oh, we had one adorable UPS guy for a while, cute little cub, and then he stopped being our UPS guy. I think David made him feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, they do all know we watch now, right? I mean, it's all on cameras for us. Yeah, I had one the other day. One of my Amazon delivers, uh, because of course all my cameras go off as soon as anyone gets near my house. And I saw he stood on one side of the porch and tossed the bag across the porch.
Oh,
I was like, dude, really? All I have to do is click a button, right? I mean, to give feedback. I was like, yeah. Fortunately, it was like a T-shirt or something. It wasn't like a big deal. But I was like, but he didn't know that. Well, I appreciate you being on all 3 hours today.
It has been fun. I got stuff that I needed to get done this morning done, and a reminder that I need to get a little bit more fabric cut. So it's all good.
And then when are you leaving for the retreat?
The retreat is start check-in is Saturday morning at 9 a.m.
Oh my goodness. All right. And then see
So
mom.
I've decided that I'm sending Riley to daycare on Friday and not doing it on like letting her stay overnight on Friday because Saturday they don't open up until 9, and I'm like, I can't be in two places at one time. So
Yeah.
she's getting there so I can get up especially early and get there in time.
Does she like the daycare pretty well?
Oh, she loves daycare. She knows whatever her Fridays are. She's like, I know daycare's tomorrow. Like, let's get everything settled. And like, she just doesn't quite know that she's staying overnight for a few days, but she still loves it. And they tried to tell me that she's going to come home exhausted, and she may, sleep for 5 minutes, and then she's back to her hyper self again.
Isn't that crazy? But it's so good for her, right? I mean, that's good socialization, just everything.
Yep. As long as she doesn't bite another dog's butt again.
Wonder where she learned that. We'll just leave that alone.
She never saw it from me.
Jody wants to know what the beautiful block is behind you.
This one, that is my channel logo. It is a giant Ohio Star variant.
Wow.
I have thought in the past to try to write it up as a pattern. It's a 33-inch block, but it's a lot of work to try to write up as a pattern. I'm like, I'm not making another like 3 of them to test out a pattern. So
yeah, that's the one thing I'll give Stephanie credit, right? I mean, she does some cute patterns.
This is where I learned that EQ8 is not perfect, because it told me to cut an 11-inch square out of a 1/4 yard of fabric.
Wait a minute, 1/4 yard. That's 9 inches. You don't know how challenging that is for John, but yes, I even got that.
Oh yeah, I mean when I said that to the quilt shop, it was immediate. They're like, "No, you can't do that." I was like, "Yeah, it took me a minute to realize that."
We all get there eventually, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I specifically did this, and this block is the same block that's in Mom's quilt. If you look at Sean, the guy who sews, he did a trunk show last year, so I have a segment in the trunk show that tells all about Mom's quilt and everything. So I took that block, which was in her quilt, and used that as my channel logo. Just recolored it.
I like the colors in that too. It really shows up nice across the room.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Ooh, Indian food for Christmas. That sounds good.
Sounds very different, doesn't it? I remember having Indian food, but it was like in elementary school, Native American food. I remember I had a teacher that used to bring in, she was real big on heritage. And I remember having, that was really cool.
I'm imagining she's saying curries, not Native American food.
Correct. Yeah, that's the thing. You gotta, so which Indian is it, right?
Yeah.
Funny how our minds go different places. Well, dude, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate
you having me. It's been a wonderful morning.
It has been fun. We did some cool giveaways. Make sure you email me your addresses and I will get those out. I hope everyone has an amazing Christmas. You still have presents to open with your family.
Yep, my sister just texted me, when are we opening gifts?
So we're all good. So guys, as always, until next time, happy crafting and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.